where I'm making these huge things. Like I made that 5 feet by 5 feet by 5 feet popcorn bucket, and we took it to Cinemark for Bring Your Own Popcorn Day for $5. Walked out with that popcorn.
Where did you get these ideas?
I don't know. Some of them are more like things I wanted to try as a kid. Some of them are more like we're trying to test the limits.
How do you then combine it with Kadama?
The big focus for us is AI, but within AI, we've noticed that certain subjects in school have huge potential.
How much is AI embedded in your personal life?
I probably opened the app like
we're rolling.
How are you?
Thank you so much for coming back on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I'm so excited. I'd love to catch up.
Last time we had fun, and I have no doubts that we'll have a lot of fun today as well. I purposefully did not ask you a whole lot of questions when you arrived because I was like, no, it's going to be honest conversation, catching up of the two friends after a while.
That's true. We didn't even, I think you came in, set this all up, and not a single word.
Right?
So it's all going to come out right now.
I felt a little weird doing that, but it was something that I was trying to accomplish to, to leave the best pieces, the best bits for the actual recording. So that's what we are doing right now.
I was like, maybe Lubo forgot his cup of coffee in the morning, so he's a bit grumpy.
Little slow, not that friendly. No, actually, I wanted to have this kind of discussion because I think when we chatted last time, it was more of an interview style.
Yeah.
When, we were setting up the foundation, but I don't want to be talking about the same things that we were chatting about last time.
Yeah.
It's more of a refresher, right?
Yeah.
What has changed in the past year and a half since we have done the first podcast. But I wanted to kick things off asking you what brings you to LA this time around.
Yeah. No, I am right now, as we talked about last time, I've been doing more of the creation stuff, and turns out that LA is truly the place to scale the content creation. I'm sure you've been seeing the content where I'm making these huge things. Like I made that 5 feet by 5 feet by 5 feet popcorn bucket, and we took it to Cinemark for Bring Your Own Popcorn Day for $5. Walked out with that popcorn. I have a few big projects being built here right now. Just gonna give you guys one spoiler. We're making the largest Lay's bag of chips ever. And so it's gonna be the most fun party with that. Taking care of that here. And then also my family is in the area, so I decided to come and visit them too.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Where did you get these ideas as an inspiration for some of your videos that go very viral?
Honestly, it depends. For example, recently I had the idea to put a photo of me all over Red Robin. And I was like, what if I put a photo in Red Robin and then nobody notices? And that turns out that's pretty easy to do because most of the employees are busy. But what if I can put 50 all over the restaurant? And so it came in, I found basically a black shirt. I printed their employee logos on it. So I walked in like I'm a corporate marketing employee, hung them all up everywhere. And
they were not suspicious at all.
No, they asked me, what are you doing? And I'm like, hey, it's like, this is the new campaign. And all of them are just photos of me holding a burger at 20 different monuments. And I was like, this campaign is centered around this burger right here. And I told them the story, they bought it. And then we come back the next day, every single angle in the restaurant is just a photo of me doing this. And customers were walking in and they're like, wait, like double taking, like looking at the wall, looking at me, like, is that you? And so I don't know. Some of them are more like things I wanted to try as a kid, and then now we know the fans want to see it, so we do it. And some of them are more like we're trying to test the limits. Like we did like 15 or 20 foot Subway sandwich. We're like, how big can we make it? And it's fun because at the end of those videos, usually what we do is we go downtown and we feed the people who need it. So it's like a win-win.
I saw the one with the bucket of full of ice cream or frozen yogurt, one of the two.
Yeah.
It looked crazy. How long did it take you to fill that?
That took us at least an hour, and what sucks is a lot of people came to eat after and all the ice cream was gone. So you could hear the generators on, like trying to create the ice cream like, the whole time after.
What do the employees say when you come in with, I assume, not one camera, but a bunch of cameras, and you try to do a stunt like that?
Yeah.
What's kind of, because usually that's not what is seen in the video, right?
Yeah.
It's edited and cut. But what I'm interested in hearing is what's happening in the background.
Yeah. So a lot of times we walk in and, like, for example, Wendy's had this $1 any size drink, and
they run out of Sprite.
Yeah.
I saw.
Most people will come in with an X large, right? So I was like, well, what if I just take this cup that they have, the Wendy's cup, and make a huge one, like 3.5 feet or something, and make a big red straw, a big bright red straw, and walk in with it. I'm like, I come in with a flyer. I'm like, it's $1, bring your own cup, or $1 any size drink, right? And they're so shocked
that they let you do anything.
I'll do it. And if they tell me don't do it, I just respectfully be like, thank you so much for your time, and then I leave. And so, but most of them actually are super excited about it. Or what happens is, like, maybe they want to see what the outcome is, and so just like the viewers watching to see what happens, they're also trying to see what am I gonna do.
So, like, where do you find out about these offers, like a $1 drink or bottomless things, etc.? Like, because usually, like, you also keep posting about, like, go there to get this deal. Where do you find them?
I like to tell people that, my team goes to sleep and they just come to us. But the point is, you just come to us and we tell you about the deals. But it's really just like, for us, we just realized our audience loves these food deals. Like, the other day we shared free pancakes, and the day before that it was like free Slurpee. The day before that was like a free ice cream cone. Who doesn't like free food, especially if they're at like your favorite restaurants? And so we tell people about that, and then also we have some fun with it, because sometimes when the company has like bring your own something day, we come in and test it to the limits.
And do they ever reach out to you to try to establish some kind of collaboration? Because in the end, everything that you do is a promotion for the brands as well.
Yeah, so a lot of them most of our entertainment videos where we come in and make something big is just honestly us having fun. But a lot of the times brands do reach out, and now there's brands speaking with us saying, for example, when we did the Wendy's video, we had Pringles comment and say, hey, make us a big Pringles one. We'd love to help. Domino's commented and said, hey, can you make us the big garlic sauce? Can you make us a big pizza? And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. Who else did? There's a lot of these brands comment, and we're like, okay, let's see what we can do about it. So how can we make this fun for our audience, but how can we turn this into, a business for us as well? Because at the end of the day, like, if the popcorn one had like 20 million views, that's a lot of eyeballs for
That's a lot of eyeballs, the theater, for sure, right? You should be leveraging that.
It's a win-win. And then with all our videos, I make sure we don't waste food. Sometimes things happen, maybe like we spill it by accident, but most of the time we're very cautious. Behind the scenes, we're cleaning our hands, we're being sanitary. We take those steps and then we donate them at the end. So it's also for a good cause and for this aspect of finding out how big could we go.
It's all centered around food and beverage businesses for the most part. Is there a reason for it, or that's just where you found those opportunities?
So there's like 2 series, or there's 3 series on my channel. There's like the food deals, because people love free food. Then there's like making these very big things. And then there's also the side quests theory. For example, one of my side quests was one of my friends. He's 26 years old. He has no facial hair. Somehow he was already bald. Looks like Caillou, the cartoon. We put him in a stroller, and kids go in for free at a theme park. So we put him in the stroller. The security looked at him and they're like, "Wow, your baby was really cute." And we got him in. And after those kind of videos, we'll go back after everything is done, and we'll go and pay for the ticket, because we want to be ethical. But it's always about, can we achieve the side quest? And so or like another video that we did was, for example, I was telling you about that earlier, like the Red Robin photos. Or recently I did it in IKEA. I actually put hundreds of blankets of my face, all the same thing, of me doing like a little selfie on like over 200 beds all over the walls. I made all the rooms in IKEA have portraits of me, blankets of me, and people would walk in and they're like, "What's going on here?"
And what did they say in IKEA?
IKEA was actually they were just laughing because they when they walked in they were like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Hey, like I'm before I buy this bed, I kind of want to visualize what it looks like in my house, and so I'm trying to make it feel very personal." So I approach it like that, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, and then I'm like, "Hey, can I just keep doing it?" And they're like, "Yeah."
I feel like the US is one of the places where you can go extremely far in terms of what you can do in a retail store. I remember when I moved here for the first time, and it's now probably about 14, maybe 15 years ago. I was shocked by, what you can do as a customer. And like, first, like, no one really tells you anything, and definitely you won't get kicked out. It's like, I think that the limit here is just like something that you cannot compare with any other place in the world. It's like you can do whatever you want, because like, especially if you position it the way you just said, like, I want to picture what this bed looks like in my bedroom with my bed sheets. Like, what do you say to that?
Well, also, it's such a absurd remark. Like they've never heard that before. So what are they gonna say? They're gonna be like, it makes sense. And obviously, sometimes it doesn't work when we do the stunts. And we're very respectful. We've had times where we try to shoot a video and it just never works out, and we just don't post it. And then we try different places. And so there's a lot of failures behind the scenes, but we're always very respectful. And then whenever we do any video, we just go back and we thank them for their time. Sometimes, if it turned out really well, we'll like. If there's like, for example, at a fast food restaurant, we'll just give them a bunch of like just free money to the servers that were working there. And so we go in, attempt the challenge, and then we're very like the outcome is very good for them too.
I really like the ethical portion of what you are doing, that it's not all for the eyeballs that you are getting, but also like having a good feeling afterwards, right? That like it was done in a certain way.
100%. Like at the end of the day, there's a lot of videos where it's impossible to avoid extreme food waste. So we just don't do those videos. And a lot of times, if we realize it's gonna burn a reputation or it's gonna end up, maybe being unethical, we push away from it. And we always make sure that whoever we do a video with or at is gonna be satisfied with the outcome and can laugh about it in the end. And usually, even though sometimes maybe they could be breaking like a very minor rules. Most of they usually are not, but if they happen to do, it ends up being really funny, and they like it. They're like, hey, that's funny, and they watch the video and they subscribe.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't pay the admission fee to a park, that's not the end of the world, right? It's like, and if you go and pay it afterwards, especially like,
Well, yeah, it's the aspect that we didn't do it and then we went and paid it in the very end. Yeah. So it's like at the end of the day, it's a joke. And also at the end of the video, for that specific one, we showed people that we had another ticket. So we told them we still paid for it. We just attempted to sneak in. So we're making sure to communicate to everybody else that you don't be unethical and that we're just testing something out for fun.
So it's mostly the purpose is the entertainment of it.
Yeah, the thing is, our followers sometimes will comment, "Hey, can you go do this challenge?" And we'll be like, "Okay, sounds good." Like for example, that sneaking in, I had posted another video with this person that was in it, the one that looks like a baby, and everybody was commenting, "This guy's Caillou." Like somebody said, take him to like a daycare or something, and I was like, "Oh my god, people just want to see him in the baby form." He's a 27-year-old grown adult, right? Or a 26-year-old grown adult, and so I was like, "Dang, like let's put him in a stroller." And it just worked out well. And yeah, everybody just thought it was extremely funny, and they were all shocked, like, "Wait, this guy, like he's an adult?"
Is there an underlying theme that you try to follow with all the pieces of your content, or some like vision that you have for your content creation?
Yeah, especially for the entertainment videos, it's always about doing something that people don't usually do at home and are always curious about. So if there's something that maybe the average person is not gonna go do, like make a 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot popcorn bucket, we're gonna go do it to show you what it looks like.
Do you have any ideas that you were thinking of today, of something that people don't usually do, that you might be able to attempt to try?
Well, yes, yes, sir. You know, I'm trying to eat healthy at least, but when before that I would eat chips all the time, and I'd open the bag and like it's half air, and so I was like, I've had enough with this. We're making our own like 5 feet maybe or 6 feet tall, huge chips Lay's bag and filling it up to the very top with chips. Gonna invite my friends and we're gonna have a party.
Okay, wow, it's gonna be a lot of chips.
It's gonna be a lot of chips.
So, how big portion of your time do you focus on content creation these days?
Yeah, so obviously I'm running my startup as well, and then I'm also doing social media. And as social media grows, it's been taking way more time. I think I'm honestly running kind of like 2 full-time jobs. So it's like my weeks are like always between like 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours. And it depends. Sometimes what I'm able to do is delegate certain assignments and work at one of my companies and free up time. Sometimes I'm able to have it so I can focus 1 week on one and another week on another. But it's really all about time management. And obviously, like, we just started YouTube. Well, we've had a YouTube channel like for a while, but we just seriously started taking it seriously and posting, and we're about to hit 100,000 subscribers there. And so, again, with more growth, there's more opportunity, but it looks fun. We're eating a lot of popcorn and giving it out, or we're taking my friend in, but behind the scenes, every single one of these videos is like 40, maybe 20 to 40 hours of research, effort, editing, work.
Do you feel that going towards YouTube and increasing the length of the format creates new opportunities for you rather than just using the TikTok, Instagram, and short form social media platforms?
100%. I think at the end of the day, there is an overlap. There's consumers who will watch content on maybe 1, 2, or 3 platforms. But then what we've realized is every single platform has the loyal followers or the loyal consumers, where these people, like YouTube viewers, there's some YouTube viewers that will not watch any other platform. So to reach them, you have to be on YouTube. I've also learned that each platform has a consumer type that has different pros to you as a creator. For example, on YouTube, I've noticed way more loyalty. As in, if they watch you once, they're really likely to watch you again. It's more of a community-based feed. Mm-hmm. Whereas on TikTok, they're just there for fun. Maybe they're not going to be loyal to you, but they're willing to see new ideas. And so you can experiment a lot on TikTok.
So they keep scrolling the feed.
Exactly. And so you can throw out multiple ideas that take a bunch of failures and quickly pivot and learn and try out new concepts on TikTok. That's a bit harder to do on YouTube. But on YouTube, when you find something that works, you can double down on it. And so it's very strategic to be on all platforms. And a lot of the times you'll find videos that do well on all, but sometimes I've noticed that there's some videos will only do good on one platform. And that's just because of the audience and how they're curated.
And I feel like if you are doing the challenge, right, and it ends up being, I don't know, 20 to 40 second long video on TikTok or Instagram, you can have a behind the scene video about like making of
exactly
that particular challenge on YouTube. And I think it's a lot better suitable platform for that because, people will want to know what was the preparation like.
Oh, it's crazy, the preparation, like building these things and renting out trucks to move them around. But yeah, that's right. YouTube does offer that opportunity. And I think with YouTube, I want to do a bit more than just that specifically. I think the genre I'm trying to get here is just like entertaining content and doing things that you may not typically see and things that trigger curiosity and stuff like that. And we did a good job with the short form videos, but the long form allows us to really dig deeper into building up a storyline, because on short form you can only curate like a story with this. There's like a lot of limits when you curate stories with 15 to 60 seconds, right? And so for the people who want to sit there, maybe grab their popcorn and be immersed in this storyline, you need to do those long videos.
Yeah, it's no way to do it in a few seconds.
Right? Yeah, it's tough.
How do you then combine it with Kadama? And are there any other new projects that entered your life in the past 18 months?
Yeah, no, for sure. The thing is with the content between Kadama and this, they're very independent of each other. And a lot of people always ask me, they're like, are you like trying to promote your Kadama with what you're doing on your pages here with the Amin Shaykho with the food entertainment? I'm like, no, it's really unrelated to that, because a lot of people end up coming and seeing my page, and they see the presence on social media. They don't notice that Kadama itself also has like 2.5 million followers there. So we already have that marketing arm for it. Why spend, like, why double dip when you can have them be independent, right? With Kadama right now, the big focus for us is AI, but within AI, we've noticed that certain subjects in school have huge potential uh, to be enhanced with AI. And what I mean by that is the way you learn math, the way you learn English, the way you learn history, the way you learn various subjects all actually vary. The way you learn it, and also the way it's being taught. And with AI, we notice that if we can actually like build models within those specific subcategories, it will have so much more potential than just building something general that answers things across various subjects. And so that's really what we're working on right now. And as schools are changing their curriculums, and as you know, the new the new innovations are coming in, it's really allowing us to kind of create these products. And I think like right now they're all still being built because things are changing really rapidly. But there's going to be, at least within EdTech, there's going to be some sort of plateau where, not plateau, but more of like a clear kind of sighting on where schools are heading in terms of how they're teaching their students, for us to come in and launch a product to like solve those needs. Because a lot of being in EdTech, you are constrained to what these school systems are doing. Because if the way they're teaching students and then examining them follows a certain protocol, your product, if it's solving for that, needs to adopt to that.
Yeah, you're gonna be catering to those needs that the school said that's the requirement, right?
Exactly. And so right now, the best we can do is try to predict the direction they're going, but it's very tough because, you know, school system is a bit slower than the rest of the tech world. So right now we've introduced all these incredible innovations in tech, but a lot of these schools and curriculums haven't adopted it. And so since we are a product meant for college and high school students, we are constrained on that. But I think when the time comes, we're ready to like start launching our new products.
Not just that they have not adopted it just yet. I think that they are like, stuck in like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And still doing things certain way. And like, this is not a criticism of the educational system by any means. I think that there's a lot of great people involved, etc. I just feel that, and you put it nicely, when you compare it with the pace of how technology evolves, and we have these new large language models and all different AI agents, and like everything is, basically at your fingertips, or even not fingertips, just like a one question, basically one question away.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I think that we don't really know what impact this is going to have on the future of education. And as you mentioned, I would love to hear from you what you think the potential future could look like, because I think that there's a lot of scenarios how this could turn, at least from my perspective. My point of view on the importance of memorizing things, for example, like with the access to all sorts of information that we have today, tremendously shifted.
Yeah. And I think the reason now schools are stuck, and again, there's always things to improve in any sort of system, right? And I love a lot of my professors, and this is not pointing anything. I think just in general, I think there is huge room for the current education system to better utilize technology and adopt it into the curriculums. I was a recent new grad. A lot of my friends are still in school, and I'm literally seeing what's going on. And what happened is, previously back in the day, right? Maybe a new calculator comes out, and then only the math curriculum or the math department is stressed out to adopt that new technology. How do we integrate calculators in school? Otherwise, everybody's just going to use it to get all the answers, right? What happened now is, instead of it being just the math department, you got this ChatGPT which is basically an equivalent to a calculator for all departments. So now it's the entire system trying to figure out how do we adopt this technology into our school. And a lot of these different orgs maybe for example, in English, it's rare you use tech in that department, right? It's more like you're writing essays. A lot of times it's like on paper and stuff like that. So it's like now you have technology that's like solving or providing you a tool for all these different departments. What do you do? And I think what schools, so like there's actually been the last like 2-3 years, students have been like the rates of cheating has increased because students have realized, well, why do I need to do this if in 3 seconds I can get it generated and I can get a better score than my attempting it? So it's not like they're being unethical or they're bad people. Inherently, these students have just found a tool to achieve something, right? And so I think what schools have to do now is they have to figure out, right, what do people actually need to know how to do, and what can they rely on technology for? And so instead of for a math class, for example, instead of just like learning how to solve equations and then being tested on equations, imagine they realize, with AI, even if you don't remember all these formulas, in 2 seconds you can put it into this open AI and get the output. Instead of just having people memorize those formulas, what if we actually can take it one step further and test them on the application of the formula instead of just memorizing it? So it could be like, okay, well, we're going to go do a project and we're going to see how we can apply math to solve this real world project, right? So we can just go deeper much faster than we could before. So instead of learning this type of problem solving skills at a 400 level class, we could be doing it at a level 100. So now you can only imagine what we're going to be teaching at level 400, just because now we're using a tool to kind of enhance things and progress way faster. And I feel like that's where schools have to go.
I think theoretically it could mean that you would be able to learn a lot more within a shorter period of time, right? Because you will have all the tools necessary to make sure that your learning is pretty much 100% efficient. Because in a way, when you are learning something, you get stuck, right? At least I remember from when I was at school. I would try to learn something and I would do these exercises. I would get stuck. I would not know how to figure it out on my own. And today we have so many tools. And I know that in Kadama and its mission was based around that, right? Having someone who can help you to solve those challenges. But today, like you can literally have a buddy available 24/7 that will go the exact direction that you want to go. Do you want to dive deeper into this topic, or you made a mistake and you want to know exactly where you made that mistake, or you want to have an example of something that is a little bit more complicated? There is so many avenues that you can take. And I think it's the efficiency of the time that you dedicate towards learning, because suddenly like the return that you get on that is a lot higher.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, a lot of classes today are really more based on short-term memory. So if you have really good short-term memory, you're going to probably get a B+ or an A, because if you can just remember what the textbook said in chapter 1 and just spit that out on the exam, that's it. You've aced the class. But I think the direction that we should be heading is more problem solving. Nobody, just like when you build a company or you work at a corporate job, you're not expected to know everything. However, you're expected to be able to have enough understanding to be able to navigate the challenge.
Yeah.
And then use resources to make things more efficient. Don't memorize how to do everything and do everything, because in the real world, like, that's never going to be the case, right? And so how do we use tools to solve problems versus let me just go memorize everything and then regurgitate on an exam? And once schools have pivoted to that model, I think students are going to be way more incentivized to actually learn when they're doing homework, because homework is going to move away from just submitting worksheets, which is basically pasting in answers, to having to demonstrate their problem-solving capabilities. And that solves this huge problem that schools are facing with cheating. You know, they're building all these AI tools to kind of like detect plagiarism, right? But people can just use tools to mask that plagiarism. So it's like this chicken and egg problem. So instead of just doing that, let's just go test them in a different way, which is going to be probably more similar to what actually ends up being used in the workforce. And yeah, as you said, like right now, AI is able to help you 24/7. Just having a human tutor is not as relevant anymore. However, for us, in addition to building these models specialize in specific categories, we have the assistance of humans on some things, because sometimes so usually what we've noticed, at least in education, AI is really good in some subjects, and maybe the deeper you go, having the assistance of a human is beneficial, like advanced physics or advanced organic chem, right? And so what we do is we use AI to help you initially, but in some cases, if you want to go deeper, we suggest we allow you in the app to add a tutor to the chat. So it's a chat that has both the AI and your tutor and you in it. And so the tutor goes and comes in and helps clarify what the AI is saying to you, and in some cases, re-explain it to you in a human way. And I think as AI gets better, that need for humans is slowly going to go away. But especially now, what we've noticed also is that a lot of students like the emotional connection they have with their tutors. And a lot of times, what we've noticed is, like, if we just take a random 40-hour session with a tutor on our app, turns out maybe 30 hours of that was just them talking about life, and the other 10 was getting help. And so that relationship that they're building with their tutors makes them feel like they're friends, especially because they're all the same age. And that community aspect has really been the reason Kadama was successful in the first place, and is continuing to grow. And so we're trying to add an AI as a tool on top of that.
I think one thing that I realized also is that you can use it, basically, you can use AI to recreate anything that you want in your tone of voice. And that, I think, is super powerful when you actually feed the AI, this is how I write, this is how I communicate. And then you basically have a tool that helps you to not just spit out random pieces of content, but spit out pieces of content that sound like yourself.
Exactly. And that's actually, so in our app, there's a feature where you can actually train the AI to sound like your favorite tutor. And that way, because a lot of times we notice that, for example, a math problem, right? Two tutors can explain to you how to solve the math problems in two different ways. And sometimes there's some students that prefer learning it. Maybe they first want to understand the high level picture and then go in depth. And maybe there's another student that likes to see it solved first and then understand how to solve it later, right? So there's different approaches to learning. And so if they don't want to work with a tutor, and the reason they may not want to work with a tutor is because it's cheaper for them to use the AI, they can actually be like, make it teach like one of my favorite tutors. And so we'll actually like take in that communication style and then come in and speak like that tutor. And even down the line, allowing tutors to create profiles of them and stuff like that. And like Meta is actually working on something similar to this, but for creators. So there's these AI creators where if you were to text like your favorite creator, let's say Logan Paul, it actually goes to his AI, and that AI knows everything about him. It talks like him, and you can kind of feel like you're interacting with him.
And I also think that the interesting aspect of like talking to AI versus talking to a real person is accountability. Because like if I'm a student and I know that I can talk to AI 24/7, but I only have a session with real tutor for 40 minutes, let's say, I will probably treat it a little differently. And I know that accountability plays a big role in human life. And I'm living proof of that. Like, that's why I love combining entrepreneurship and sports, athleticism, fitness, because for me, it really is exactly the same. Like, you need to get through something that is very tough, and you need to work with your motivation, energy, etc. And so when I work out, I always prefer to have someone to help me with the accountability. So I have my coach, and he writes the workout. He basically puts the workout schedule for me together, and then I just follow it. And like if I put the workout schedule on my own, for some reason, I wish I would treat it the same. But I'm a living human, and if it's done by me, I just don't respect it, and I might go and do another thing because I just
Yeah.
feel like it. And
Yeah.
I'm not, by any means, I'm not 100% perfect, but the like percentage of compliance with that workout schedule is a lot higher when I have a coach that is doing it for me. And I think it's very much similar with learning. When you have someone else there to hold you accountable, it's going to happen. And maybe it's going to be exactly the same quality as talking to an AI agent, but you will just show up because, you will not feel bad for no showing to an AI agent. Like imagine that you order an Uber ride and then you change your plans, you are late, you don't show up, and you might have that bad feeling internally that there is a human person outside waiting for you, losing their valuable time in that car, versus you have Waymo that just arrived to pick you up.
Yeah.
And who cares, right? You just don't show up, the car leave on its own. So I think that's kind of the differentiator in terms of the accountability.
And that is perfect. Like that's exactly ties to what I was talking to you about earlier when I said, like, for example, in a 40-hour session with a tutor, 30 hours is just them talk about life and they have that connection. And part of that connection, there's motivation. There's like this sense of I don't want to disappoint my tutor by going and getting a bad grade on the exam. I need to go put in the effort. And so you're right. With AI, maybe we don't have that relationship with it and we can neglect it. But with humans, they have, and that's why we've noticed that having the humans come in on top of the AI works really well because it's reinforcing that with this emotional and psychological aspect. But the thing is, I still believe this is just an era. I think there is going to be a whole generation of people that are born today, like who are being born as we speak, that are going to grow up with it completely normalized to have friends that are AI or friends in the virtual world. Like right now, our parents were used to having everything be in person. All their friends were people they met in person. Our generation, it was like you meet friends, they're human beings, but you're interacting with them virtually. So it's like over Xbox or something like that, right? Sometimes you never see them in person, but you know they're there. Now there's gonna be a new era where on the other side, it's not even a person. It's completely all AI. And I feel like once that happens, people will now start to build very deep emotional relationships with AI. And I feel like this is a world where, our parents couldn't comprehend what we were doing online, why we're meeting people online, and that's the norm today. All social media, that's norm. We may not comprehend being emotional with a bot or a robot, but the people being born in the next 2 to 3 decades will.
Makes me feel too old at this point because I'm not sure if I want to have an emotional bond to an AI agent.
And that's what our grandparents said about holding a phone.
At the same time, I can totally see why you think that that's pretty much where we are headed.
I don't want to talk about on this podcast. It's a pretty like a devastating story, but AI influenced a young kid to do a bad decision. I don't want to talk about it here, but like you're already seeing it happen. And imagine growing up in a world where like AI is so advanced where you talk to it, maybe you can't maybe you can't differentiate AI from a human being.
And
when you're on Instagram, imagine there's there on social media now. There's accounts that are all.
I mean, there are already
plenty
of those accounts everywhere.
Yeah, but imagine the next level where instead of it just being like just like photos that are being uploaded by a bot, it's now DMing you and interacting and engaging in real time, posting new photos, AI generated photos.
It is scary, but you know what's the worst part of it? That from the technology standpoint, it's all already there.
It's there.
It's like
it's there.
It's just like
somebody has to put them all together.
Somebody has to put it all together.
Yeah.
But the scariest part of that is that like it can be used for amazing purposes, but as you mentioned, in a very, very similar way, it can be used for a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
And the way to protect from that happening is going to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, I agree. I always love technology for for the pros that we get and the advantages. And I feel like as technology gets more advanced, the possibility of repercussions increases. Uh, in this case, right, as you said, like if you now have these like LLMs and like they're like the little brains, right, and they're able to make decisions on their own, right, and so if people are now like building agents, they're building these different wrappers around it, and they're malicious people, the outcome is going to end up being malicious, right? And so how do we leverage the fruits of this technology, but also make sure that we can prevent negative outcomes from them?
What's been the impact of the rise of LLMs on Kadama itself? You mentioned that you are now pushing your own different models as well to make sure that you play a role in that. But have you noticed any shifts in terms of how people use your product, and like, especially since like ChatGPT got extremely popular end of 23 and throughout 24?
Yeah. So with us inherently, we've mostly focused on the older students, like the third year and fourth year college students. And so um those students they tend to be taking more advanced courses that are more challenging, that require a deeper level of assistance than students maybe in high school or freshmen in college. We've always had competitors in the space like Chegg or Coursera, which you're familiar with. Chegg has always been a direct competitor for us when it comes to first and second year, because Chegg was just a platform where the real life utility of Chegg was people would just put their problem and get an answer. It doesn't matter really how like that's what people were using it for. I guess a lot of students at least, and so those same students weren't even using us in the first place for the basic assistance. They would only come to us for harder things, like maybe more advanced projects or deeper things. And so that market for us was already eating away from those competitors. And now when ChatGPT came in, it ate from primarily from that market, but it seeped into the more advanced students market. And so what we've noticed is that effect though hasn't been as it hasn't hit us as hard as it hit other players in the game like Chegg. Chegg was impacted way more because getting an answer from Chegg is almost as easy as getting the answer from ChatGPT. Whereas for us, people have been using us to get this tutor to help them on a project that scaled multiple weeks in a class. And so we realized for our utility, using AI as a tool that drastically makes things more efficient for them, with management from the human, where they come in and help if the student is failing to understand the AI, or if they need a more deeper understanding, or maybe that motivation aspect or the psychology aspect plays out really well for our student. And then where we really think we're going to be able to make the most impact is once schools start to figure out what their new curriculum is going to look like, and we figure that out, we're going to start to realize holes by departments in school. So maybe we realize that like the new curriculum adopting AI, and maybe let's say in the physics department has a weakness. Let's now go roll out something focused specifically on physics and address those needs. And so it's going to be more from like you're going to see in EdTech, you're going to see less of generalized EdTech solutions where you have a product like Kadama that was serving all subjects, or like Course Hero or Chegg solving all subjects, to a lot of like very specialized models based on like specific types of projects or specific types of subjects and stuff like that. And I think like that's like the future where it's heading. And it's now we're in like this very awkward stage where, well, how are schools going to adopt? What's the new education standard? What's going to be like the new model or process that we're going to be using to learn?
Do you have a chance to keep up with all the news in terms of the geopolitical landscape of the AI game and AI supremacy?
It's really messy, and there's so much that goes along there. I try to keep up to date with some stuff, but a lot of this stuff is moving by so fast every single day. Like if I don't check for like 3 days, I missed out so much. But yeah, what in particular?
There is massive investments. There is things happening in China. I think companies are now competing
Yeah,
in
like
terms of who will have
yeah.
the smartest AI. Grok just released the version 3. So it seems like there's a lot, like there's a like the stakes are extremely high, right? So a lot of the big companies are investing extremely heavily, and like we don't know who is gonna be the winner. Um, I hope that a healthy competition will in the end help us to drive this to for the better future of the humanity, of course. But it's very interesting how things are shifting from one day to another, and just the fact that a Chinese app can hit number one in the
Yeah.
App Store. um, like we all were roughly over a little over a year ago. We all were like super surprised that ChatGPT, when they launched their app, like ranked number one in the App Store, and it was the fastest growing product ever. But now I feel this has been happening on a daily basis. New stuff comes live. Suddenly, the next day, everyone has it on their phones. People, I feel, are a lot more tuned to. I wanna try the latest, hottest thing that is out there, and that's why we see these massive movements. And I think that, like, if you don't like, it's great that you are the winner of today, but it does not really guarantee you anything for tomorrow.
Yeah, especially in this world where back in the day, people would spend years building a company and building the algorithms and crazy work, and now even engineering it. And now you have companies where that you can use AI and quickly iterate, launch a new product, put the idea out to market just like that. And so right now we're in a world where it's super easy to get your idea out into this world, get feedback, and also people, because they're being exposed to it, they're understanding the potential and they're wanting to experience it. And a lot of people are realizing that like there's so much potential, maybe they want to participate in it. And the thing is, what I remember, like back, like there's eras, right? Like there was the companies when they were competing to have the biggest like browser, like Chrome, Safari, right? There was another area where who's gonna have the biggest marketplace, right? The App Store, Google Play, and I think what all these big companies have realized that this new attention, like also phones, it was an era for phones, watches, right? Now, whoever owns or whoever's gonna be the big player in this AI war, uh, they're gonna have the control that these big iPhone or not the phone companies have, the big marketplace companies have, right? And so all these companies are stressing out, and everybody's participating now because they're trying to be part of the game. Maybe they end up being a lucky winner.
It's an interesting perspective because when you think about it, I think that we are even past the point at which it was about, like, I want to have the winning large language model. I don't care. I don't care if I use Gemini, ChatGPT. Um, I will not use DeepSeek, Grok, um, or anything else. I simply don't care. I only care about how easy it is
Mm-hmm.
for me to use it, and how do I give it access
Mm-hmm.
to the right level of information that I need to accomplish certain task. That's what I care about. And whatever that interface is, I think is the current winner for me. It's not the LLM itself anymore. But you were right. It was about like the operating systems, the internet browsers, and like there's a lot of these gateways how you can interact with a digital product. And the companies that control these gateways are the tech giants of today, but we can only guess what's gonna be the future gateways of interaction, communication, etc.
Yeah. And the thing is, the potential with this, I believe, is even larger than some of the previous gateways. Like, okay, you own like there's like the marketplace, right? Like all future companies who are trying to make an app have to go through this one gateway, right? But now, at the end of the day, like if you look at the economy is not only built off like apps, right? There's there's a food sector, there's the hospitality sector, there's so many different sectors, right? The marketplace is one sector, but now all these different sectors are using these models in the back end. So something like OpenAI is being used by like Expedia, for example, is being used by companies like Apple, is being literally used by every single industry. So now you went from like you're controlling the app, the application marketplace industry, to you're literally being used by everything in the economy. And so the potential of this gateway compared to the other gateway is like 100x more valuable. And this is why companies are like stressing out and dumping in, what is it, like billions and billions of dollars, just because like
hundreds of billions.
They're in panic mode right now.
There are crazy amounts being thrown left and right for sure at this opportunity.
Yeah, this is huge because again, like in 5 years from now, when there's like there's usually what happens is like there's gonna be 1, 2, or 3 really, really dominant winners that the consumers end up knowing about. But those ones are gonna have a lot of power, very lucrative outcome, and also a lot of impact on humanity as well. And they're gonna control like how us humans are living our life. Because if we're getting our information from their source, how they display it to us influences us, or how they deem certain things to be right or wrong, right? It's all in their hands. And I'm sure any company, if you come up to them and ask them, do you want to be the decision maker, or do you want your competitor to be a decision maker? They want to take it.
Yeah.
And they all understand the influence. So yeah.
How much is AI embedded in your personal life these days? Any particular?
I use it for I probably open the app like if I had to like throw a number, minimum 3 times a day, like minimum, I'm using one of these different apps. And I ask it for like anything I do. Like if I'm trying to come up with a storyline, if I forgot a synonym to a word, if I need help setting something up, if I want to quickly see what are the new features on the iPhone so we can integrate some of their SDKs into our app, anything. I honestly don't really use search engines anymore, like the normal way. I go and just directly ask chat or something, hey, like, how do I do this, or tell me more about this.
Do you have a preference of certain apps for certain types of questions, or is it mostly ChatGPT?
So a lot of my friends, they do that based on their specific need. They'll actually use a different one. For me, I just use chat, and I've also built some of my own automation for certain things. So I have well, I don't want to actually talk about it right now, but there's a specific thing that I need data for on a regular basis. So I built my own model in the back end, and it runs every like X hours, and it gives me updates in real time, and I can actually go in and ask it specific things about this data point. So I've built something on top of OpenAI that's optimized for a specific utility that I need. And for a lot of different things I have, like if there's super specialized areas that I need help with, or I deal with a lot, I either will default to something that is going to be more specialized in it, or I'm going to just go build my own, because it's really easy now to build models specific to your needs. There's a lot of tools out there and libraries for you to do that.
There's a lot of tools, a lot of libraries, and I think that with all of that, you can achieve a lot. I still think that it's little challenging for people to plug everything together, because there is gaps to connect some of those elements. If it would be easy, everyone would be already doing it. I think that it's for the pioneers right now to really spend the time, figure it out, and leverage all of those solutions. But when it actually connects, um, I think that like the power of it is going to be insane.
I agree. I think obviously for me it's a bit easier to say because I come from a tech background and like takes me like 1 hour to just write something in Python and have it run and just like run it locally on my laptop. But for the average consumer, having something that can address your specific needs in depth is going to be a game changer. And the question becomes like, well, are there going to be a few different platforms that address different needs, or is it going to be one platform that does it all? And then how does it do it? There's a lot of different ideas that I have on how somebody can do something like this. But as you said, it's at the end of the day, what really matters is you need to build something that reaches scale, and it has to be easy and it has to be extremely simplified, where the average Joe can open it without much effort, get the outcome he needs or she needs. Um, and that's like where the real money is right now. Because even a lot of people with OpenAI, and as fluid as it seems, there's a lot of people who still don't get their answers by asking chat because they just don't necessarily know how to communicate with it. For example, they don't know how to, like, prompt engineering is a thing, and they don't really know how, if they ask it something and it comes back with the wrong answer, they're not able to fact check it themselves, right? So there's a lot of things that can be made much more streamlined.
And I think that right now we have these chatbots that are pretty much the primary way how we interact with AI, right? So, and they don't provide a whole lot of structure. It's like you send a message in, you receive a message out, and this is the communication. I think once we'll be able to create a very customized structure of what goes in and what comes back to you, because you can get there are already these multi-model approaches, but I think that there needs to be a lot more structure so we can actually go a lot deeper with prompt engineering, and that way it's gonna be crazy in terms of like what kind of challenges these tools will be able to help us with.
I agree with you, and that's why I feel like I'm leaning more towards an outcome where in 5 years is not going to be like one app for all. I think what's going to happen is a lot of the big players, because at the end of the day, these industries and problems are already being addressed by big players. Like for example, Expedia is handling travel related stuff, right? And so, and instead of everybody just going to ChatGPT to ask it for car rentals or information on that or passing in that format, imagine a company like Expedia makes it so you can just literally upload an itinerary and then it comes back to you with something where the different companies create these customized inputs based on their customers. So something like a hospital, your input there could be like the records of all your visits, and then or it could be you exporting maybe your health data from your Apple Watch into this model that they have available for you, or maybe it could be any other health company, and from that they come back to you and maybe create you like a 5-year plan or something like that. And so it may be hard for one company. Like I feel like there's so many millions of inputs, right? That a company would have to optimize for, so much overhead. So I feel like what's going to end up happening is like something like OpenAI is again, OpenAI right now is technically it's a B2C and a B2B company, but where the real money is going to be is like the B2B side, because they're just going to provide the resources for those companies to create very streamlined inputs for their specific problem that they're solving. And then, yeah, so behind the scenes, everybody's going to use OpenAI, and that ease of use is going to be delivered through these different brands. It's like basically like how a manufacturer is to like all these different companies. Like a lot of the pieces in your shoe come like from Nike or Adidas, probably all come from the same place, maybe. And so, but you just see it in the flavor that you like or the problem that you need to
Right.
solve for
Yeah.
yourself. And so
It's
that's
like when it comes to the shoe, it's the actual design, right?
exactly.
It's not the type of a rubber,
Yeah, the
that
rubber
the sole is made
exactly.
of.
This probably comes from the same part of the world.
Yeah.
And so that's how it is. Like how it's coming up with the problem slash solution that you're looking for is going to be ultimately handled by OpenAI, but these companies are going to come in and make the input and output extremely favorable for you as a consumer, where it becomes super easy for you. And yeah, that's really the world that we're going into.
Well, I hope that's the exciting part of the world that we are getting ourselves into. That there's not gonna be there are not gonna be any like bad scenarios.
Hopefully, I think.
Hopefully.
Unfortunately, like as a person who understands technology, and I'm sure you do, like stuff is gonna rise. The question becomes like, I hope we have the right people in power to be able to have the foresight to prevent as much as they can, and when things do erupt, are able to handle them in a non-biased way and in a way that's what's best for the people, not what's best for maybe monetary stakeholders or external parties. And if we can do that, then the world's going to be a really good place because AI is going to make life so much better. But if that doesn't go out well, a lot of people are going to suffer. Like social media has caused a massive pandemic in mental health, right? Affecting students. People's entire life's perspective is through the lens of these artificial lifestyles you're seeing online, right? And so, right, what happens now with what's going on? So I'm always very optimistic about technology, and I'm always pro technology, but there has to be that responsibility of making sure we're preventing anything.
There's gotta be for sure. There's gotta be for sure. And like if there's no balance, that would end badly, and we don't want that. Have you picked up any new interests lately? Something that you're adding to your mix when it comes to your busy schedule?
Well,
anything that we should talk about?
One thing is like definitely health. I've been trying to eat extremely clean. I'm sure you see in my videos a lot of times I do these crazy like unhealthy food deals, but I've been trying to eat very clean. So if I pick something up, I need to understand everything in the ingredients list. If something doesn't make sense to me there, I'm not eating that food. Trying to make sure exercising and trying to push myself there as well. I've also noticed that, as you said, having people come in sometimes, like, because I'm really busy, pulling me out of my work schedule and say, hey, come join me for this has been good. And eating also, like eating better, just helps me think like I'm just more sharp at work as well. And so definitely pushing more health, like a huge thing right now for me. Especially because like the last 6 years building my startup in social media, like I've sacrificed my own health to achieve some of my goals. So like drinking like 300, 400 milligrams of coffee every single day, not sleeping for multiple days in a row. And so as I get older, I feel like if I don't maintain that, I'm not going to be able to continue pushing stuff.
You asked me earlier before we started recording about AG1.
Yeah.
There's no ad. We don't recommend anything. But do you have any source where you go for inspiration when it comes to health, or do you follow any particular approaches, people, etc.?
Yeah. Well, right now what I've been doing is some of my friends take it a bit more seriously than I have. So I've been asking them for what they're doing. Obviously, I do what most other Gen Z and just average people do. I like go on TikTok and search up like, oh, how does this? And then I kind of get information from a few different sources and try to cherry pick them together. That works, but it's a bit inefficient. What's been most useful is just kind of like asking people around me who either like have studied nutrition or they are personally invested in their own health, like what's worked best for them, what's not, and gone about that. I asked you about AG1 because like that's just something that like 2 weeks ago somebody told me that I've been taking it and I felt really good about it. And then I spoke to another person and they said I took it and I felt nothing. So now I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? And also like the thing is like I don't want to make it so taking care of my health takes up so much of my time, because like the thing is like drinking caffeine, for example, suppresses your metabolism, right? So when you drink a lot of caffeine, it turns out you don't have to eat as much during the day and to stay focused because your body's like is energized due to the caffeine. But if you're trying to reduce caffeine, you need more natural sources of energy. So like going to the gym, for example, or eating almonds, eating like omega-3 items, right? And so like throughout the day, I'm like stressing like, okay, like my energy is low. I need to go eat a snack here, a healthy snack, but there's no healthy snacks around me. How do I manage this healthy lifestyle in a way that I can actually handle myself and scale that for the next 3-4 years forever while doing what I'm doing, instead of having to like artificially boost myself by drinking like an energy drink or coffee, which has like limited longevity.
many things that are going through my head right now. The first one that I would say that I think that supplements are at the very best only 20% of what you can do. I think the 80% really lies in quality sleep, nutrition, exercise, and like quality social time with people around you. And then that's the 80 that you can get out of it. Keeping your mind in check. And then like the 20, like if you are deficient of certain micronutrient, yes, 100%. If you want to do it as a placebo just to feel good, you were checking out earlier my backpack full of supplements.
It looked like a pharmacy.
And I mean, frankly, I can't confirm or deny if it works, but my blood results look pretty good. I feel great. So I have no intention of really changing it. But
have you tried maybe like removing some supplements, seeing if you feel better or worse? Testing.
I've tried
A/B testing on yourself.
I've tried A/B testing on myself. At the same time, you need to keep it consistent for a certain time to actually be able to even say, is it doing anything? Is it not doing anything? Do I feel good or bad? I feel good now. Results are good too.
Why change it?
So I have been on the same for over a year. And I don't plan on changing it anytime soon.
That's good.
Sometimes I add a thing or two, or I remove a thing or two, but the core usually stays the same. But the 80% that I was talking about is still about sleep, exercise, nutrition, quality time with other people.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, that's what I'm noticing, because like I'm very, very young in my like this health journey, right? A lot of people have been invested for many years, and I'm like right now doing.
You are very young overall, not just in your health journey, right? So it plays in your favor.
The beginning stuff, trying to figure out like, okay, what should I be doing? I went to the area where it's like, all you have to do is drink the supplements and you're good to go. It turns out, as you're right, it is 20%. It's when I would take supplements, like I barely feel anything, and so now my next thing that I'm trying to solve is sleep. Am I sleeping well? Because there's nothing wrong with drinking caffeine, but I noticed that a lot of my friends, they're just never drinking caffeine, or they're drinking way less than me and they feel more energized. How come I'm hitting my peak and above and beyond with a lot of caffeine, but if I'm not drinking caffeine, and I know there's caffeine withdrawals. I've been 2 months clean without caffeine, but I broke it the last few days because I was like, this is not sustainable. But the thing is, why am I saying it's not sustainable? There's probably something else going on with my body that's preventing me from feeling energized. And so I'm looking into sleep right now. I'm doing some sleep tests. I'm gonna see like, what's going on? Because like the doctor was saying, some people imagine the way their neck is structured when they're at night causes sleep apnea, right? Or maybe it's literally the fact that your body doesn't have a circadian rhythm. Maybe it's because some nights I go to bed at 1 a.m., another night I go at 9 a.m., another night I go 4 a.m. My body's having trouble recovering at night. And so that's something I'm going to test out. And then I'm going to go test out maybe something else. Try to figure out why inherently do I feel less energized, and at least what I feel like, than the average person, even though I'm doing exercise a lot. And overall, I feel like I'm eating healthy. Like, what's going on? That's like a big personal problem or a personal question I'm trying to solve for myself right now.
All right, next time we talk, we'll dive into all things related to sleep.
Yeah.
Be looking forward to that. Do you use any trackers, or how do you look at your results?
Well, I just started that right now. So yeah, there's some trackers right now. Like basically my doctor has given me a few different things. One was just literally like to check my movement. Another one, my breathing. Another one, like literally how I'm structuring myself when I'm sleeping. Like, is my neck tilted this way? Is my elevation right? Just trying to see if that's gonna is influencing me. If I can cross off sleep, if my sleep ends up being fine, then I have to go and hunt the next thing that could be influencing me. So right now I'm in that journey, trying to figure out how can I just like keep myself more energized without having to rely too much on caffeine.
I think that there's a very common understanding that sleep is the key. So
Yeah,
I think
well, that's why I'm
you are
focusing.
you are onto the right path.
Exactly. A lot of people neglect the one thing and they're focusing on like all these other aspects. And then I remember somebody told me, I was like, "Are you sure you're sleeping well?" And I always would say yes because I would sleep total 8 hours. But then when I actually look into it, are they 8 quality hours or are they not?
Yeah.
And that's what I need to figure out. And hopefully I come back next time and I'm telling you, yes,
Yeah.
this is the problem.
Well, for me, it's also a journey when it comes to sleep. I think that if I dedicate enough of my attention, I can have 100% sleep scores back to back for entire week, not for entire year or multiple years like Brian Johnson,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But it's the attention that it gets in my prioritization. But my game changer for sleep is not to take my phone to the bedroom. It's
Like how
I
many
think
hours before you
some
go to sleep
some
you stop using it?
people, it doesn't have to be, it could be minutes before
Really?
I go to sleep. That's fine. I also use the blue light blocking glasses, but not even that I think is that important. The fact that you dedicate your bedroom for sleeping only, um, and you don't even take the phone inside is a huge game changer.
Yeah.
It's extremely, like, for me, it's extremely tough to do because that, feeling that you lay in your bed, you want to check out,
Yeah, you're
I don't
away
know,
from the world.
messages, and like maybe you want to watch a video on YouTube, etc. I will be then scrolling, and usually, like, if it's a good day, I scroll for 20 minutes. If it's a bad day, it might be 3 to 4 hours, and I will be watching different videos on YouTube, etc. Well, and then it ruins
Your sleep
the
schedule. Yeah.
not just the sleep schedule, but multiple days, right? Versus um, if I leave my phone in the living room, well, first night, very awkward. You can't fall asleep. Second night, still like, and then like you keep doing that for a while, it becomes a habit, and then uh, it basically the bedroom is turned into the kingdom of sleeping, and you just walk through the door, and you are already halfway knocked out.
Yeah, well, I have a bigger challenge because I have like 2 to 3 phones with me. One of them is like dedicated for my social media, like it's all the engagement. Another one's for my personal. Another one's for my company. So now I have to put them all away just to,
Yeah, it's
just
a
to walk in.
it's a tough one.
It's
It's a
tough. Yeah,
tough
it's
one.
like I feel like I'm gonna stand by the door for like 20 minutes, like before I step in. I have to send my last message. But one thing I'd have done is I've actually turned off my vibration on my phone and my ringtone, and I make it so that the screen doesn't turn on when I get new alerts. It's similar to do not disturb, but basically that way, I'll, even if I have do not disturb on or off, if I get a message, I don't feel that vibration. So like I could just be like, let's say I'm walking down the road, and I have it in my pocket, I don't feel it, and I've noticed that that gives me more time to just like clear my mind and not have to be overworked and overstimulated at all times. Like, when are they gonna reply? When is that, right? It's just whenever I pick up my phone, I check. But if it's in my pocket, I'm not consistently pulling up my phone for every vibration.
In this day and age, I think notifications should not exist. I have all of that off, and it makes my life so much better. It's like I show up to the things that I want to show up to. It's
Exactly.
nearly impossible to call me because unless I'm already looking at the phone, I will not pick up. But it helped my
Exactly.
mental state tremendously.
Because notifications are them trying to seek your attention, whether it's an app, a person, it doesn't matter. Whereas if you are opening it whenever you want, you naturally are gravitated to what you
Right.
care about the most.
Right.
And so now you're not wasting your time with something extremely silly.
No.
And those things add up throughout the day, especially with somebody like you who's like really busy, right? I'm sure you want to stay focused on what your priorities are. And you don't want these side distractions taking away from the, let's say, 8 hours that you're trying to be locked in.
For the most part, I'm not perfect either.
Yeah, we all make mistakes. It's tough. Yeah.
All right, man. Next time we talk sleep. We've just agreed on that. Was amazing catching up and learning a lot of new things. And it seems like you immersed yourself in the full-on AI game. And I am excited to keep watching your viral videos.
Yeah, no, I love how we honestly, this is just like a normal conversation we would have if we picked up the phone or grabbed coffee. So we've grabbed coffee before, and it literally wasn't like this. And that's crazy. I like this new flow, by the way. We walked in, we didn't talk to each other, and we had the convo like this, and we ended it. So everything that we talked about, they saw.
It's real, right?
It's not like a podcast where last time, which they're both nice, but the other one he came in is like, answer this question, answer this question. This one was like, let's just talk normally.
Yeah.
And this is what we had to talk about today.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.